women have been told for centuries and a day how they should look. So you know what? I'm going to level the playing field and I'm going to say I am not a big fan of the dad bod. Sorry, I'm not sorry. I'm not sorry. Like I said, we have been nitpicked and told forever, even from like the Greek goddess paintings, okay? The Da Vinci Code of the ceilings of, old architecture. Okay, we've always been told what the ideal beauty for women should look like. So I am not sorry. I'm not sorry that I'm going to say my preference and keep it real. And you know what, dudes? If that's a little harsh for you, then button up and saddle up, soldier, because like I said, I ain't taking it back, okay? And before you think you start crying, thinking I'm body shaming, okay, take a Xanax. I'm going to address that. But let me just say, I expressed this notion on my Instagram, and funny enough, the dudes were like laughing, high-fiving, cheering me on, being like, yeah, right? And believe it or not, the women were the ones who were like, Taylor, don't body shame. That's mean. Let them eat whatever they want. That's not nice. And it really got me thinking, when it comes to body image and all this, are women just a little too sensitive? I'm going to say it. I mean, honestly, it makes me feel like guys just don't care as much, or do they? I mean, we're going to get into this today, okay? Because this whole thing started when Will Smith showed us his dad bod in a very funny way. And simultaneously, Billie Eilish like shredded her Grim Reaper outfit and like came out and was like a Marilyn Monroe, like letting us motorboat her with her tits. And I was like, oh my God, like where have these been all along? Right. So both of them happened at the same time. But what was interesting to me is the difference in reactions to both body, exposés, if you will, just like letting their, their freak flags fly high. And I want to talk about that today. Like I said, I was going to address the body shaming thing. So dudes, I'm not body shaming you. I'm just saying, I'm not saying if you got the dad body, you know what, live your life. I'm not saying you're unattractive. I'm not saying you're less of a man. Like I would never be that person to tell you like, go in the gym, soldier, now. More crunches from you, mister. Like that's just not my thing. I don't care. It's just I like it when a guy takes care of themselves. Like I take care of myself. And I appreciate the same in return. Like it turns me on. We've talked about the biology. I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole today, but you know the one, right? So I appreciate that. And what we're seeing before I dive into Will Smith, what we're seeing is that older dudes, like there's been a kind of a role reversal, right? When it comes to gender and body norms, because back in the day, it used to be like, honey, maybe it was like Susie Homemaker in the 50s, like Pleasantville. They'd be like, Susie, maybe you could like lose a couple, right? And now the women are like, oh, Dave, the gym is that away, like put down the White Claw. You know what I mean? It's really funny. Like older dudes are like more and more concerned with looking right and looking tight. And that is especially what I mean by like millennial dudes, your 20s, your 30s, like the dad bod is available to you. Like I said, if you should choose. But if you don't, like, I don't know. Like, I don't know if you need to be funneling White Claws off your best friend's butt crack at a frat party every weekend. I mean, I'm just saying, okay? So there's something really hot to me about an older guy. Like I said, this is like the new trend these days. And it's like my Achilles heel. It's my kryptonite because not only do I tend to like older men, this is like a new thing that happened in my late 20s. I never used to be this way. I don't know what happened along the line, but here we are. Not only do I dig an older guy, but an older guy who's in shape. And I'm not saying you have to be the Hulk and like destroy me with your pinky. I'm just saying I dig it. And a perfect example of this before we get into Willie Smith is Mark Wahlberg. You guys know, like Marky Mark is the poster boy for being like super ripped and hot in later life. Like he's in his late 40s, right? He's 49 right now. Well, guess what? I worked out with Marky Mark. Sweated pretty much on him and talked about all this. And I have to tell you this story because it kind of feeds into this. And it's also just a really fun story. So I'm with my BFF, Brielle Galikovic, who is another host. She is Her site is called the Gilded Bellini. It's fine. We scissor every day and I post about her all the time. So you know the one. So Mark is doing this event with I forget what it's called, something like Wounded Warrior Project. And it's all like to honor vets, right? Because he had spent time in Afghanistan, which he talked to me about. I'm going to tell you in a sec. So he partnered with F45, which is the gym, if you've heard of it, for this Wounded Warrior Project, right? To like do this whole cool thing, like for vets and working out and like give attention to them and etc. Okay. So what happens the first day, Brielle and I go to this event and like two idiots, like Dumb and Dumber, we walk in late, and it's on Mark Wahlberg's Instagram. And I'm even going to play it for you right now. Okay. Because you have these like actual vets, like some of them with one leg, some of them like talking about the battlefield, like this is at F45 and this is on Mark's story and it's all quiet and they're telling their stories. And here Brielle and I walk in late, like I said, like two morons, right? So we're like, oh, okay, perfect. Getting off to the right foot. Cool. So then it's all these like, and I always talk to you guys too about how LA is so sceney, especially with the Instagram influencer scene. Okay. So you have Brielle and I who are like Oompa Loompas, like 251 girls from the tri-state area being like, what is going on? And then you have all these IG models, like, because they invited press and influencers or whatever to get the word out, right? And they're in their like matching outfits and like their hair and their makeup done. And like Brielle and I are like two sewer rats, but it's fine. So finally, the workout starts and all the Instagram influencers, right, are like in position with their mats. And then here are Brielle and I, because we stumble in late and we're just like two morons. So Mark actually comes up to us and starts talking to us. And it's amazing. And we're talking about, funny enough, how on brand, how superficial celebrities in Hollywood are, because he's talking about how being in Afghanistan and seeing vets, like what they went through and all the sacrifice and the grit that it takes. And then he and I are like, yeah, what a different world, right? Like being out here. And he says like so many celebrities lose touch with reality. So naturally, in so many ways, I'm jerking off. It's a really great time. So then perks of not being an Instagram fitness influencer and like already doing your push-ups, okay? When you're lagging behind and talking to Mark Wahlberg, because he invited Brielle and I the next day to join him again at the F45 in my neighborhood, like literally half a mile from my apartment. Okay. Here's the catch. He's like, yeah, you guys should come tomorrow. And you know, when a celebrity says shit, you never really know. We're like, this is Mark Wahlberg right now. Like he's going to remember us tomorrow. He's like, yeah, you guys should come tomorrow. I'm going to be there, blah, blah, blah. So naturally we're both like, okay, here's the catch. He's like, yep. So the class is at 7 a.m. And we're both like, oh, okay. It couldn't have been 9. So we like mull over this for hours. We're like, okay, it's once in a lifetime. When is Mark Wahlberg ever going to invite us ever again to go work out with him? Okay. And be licking his biceps basically with our minds. Like when? So we end up going the next day and there he is at the door and he remembered us and he's like, you made it, blah, blah, blah. And we're kind of shooting the shit the whole thing. And I was kind of like being a little bit of like, as I do, like my way of flirting is like kind of being a dick. So I'm like, what happened? Like, I thought it was all hard. Like I'm walking fine. You know what I mean? Like kind of giving him that New England little like jab there. And the joke was on me actually, because I couldn't walk for like a week later after the second day, but nonetheless. So he starts saying to me, you know, because I say like, I thought you were going to whip my ass in a shape, whatever. And he's like, you know, it's actually not really about that. It's about like all being together, motivating each other and like getting the work done. And I just really loved the whole experience because it showed like, number one, he wasn't just a celebrity who like talked a lot of shit and didn't walk the walk. Like he was in there, he was doing it, and he works on that bod constantly. At this point, this was like a year or two ago, so he was 48, but still. And this is what I mean, to get back to the theme, right? His wife was there and I asked him about her, and it was so funny because he was the one like all the gym rat, and he's like, yeah, she's kind of like getting back in the swing, like I'm trying to convince her to like come along with me, right? And that's what's so funny is, again, it's like you would think that the woman's like trying so hard to like stay hot for her man, like the housewife, right? And the guy's like, whatever, like a beer. And it's the opposite. Like, clearly, ladies, if you know, like a fat ass wallet just doesn't cut it anymore. Marky Mark is proof. Like, we like the bod. This is proof. Okay. So this brings me to Will Smith. Now, Will Smith posted a really funny self-deprecating photo of his dad bod. And it said something in the caption that, like, here, I'll pull it up. It says, I'm going to be real with y'all. I'm in the worst shape of my life, right? And look at him. He's like, he has a little gut. He has the expression on his face. He literally looks like a statue. He is just living life, right? And here's what I thought was interesting. And I thought it was hilarious. And I thought it was interesting because the reactions, when you, especially when you contrast it with Billie Eilish, which I'm going to get to in a minute, we're all like, I'll pull some up. It's like crying, laughing faces. Everyone just thought it was like so hilarious. People calling him daddy, people loving it. Like, look at ha, 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 all the crying faces, right? And then we have Arnold Schwarzenegger over here. This captured what guys said on mine too, because they're like, yeah, the dad bod's got to go, you know? He said, Will, you poor baby, I'm crying for you. Even though you're still in better shape than 90% of America, keep pumping with like a strong, what is this? A bicep curl. Okay. Wow. Speaking of working out. Okay. I'm like basketball, you know the thing. So, and people obviously found this relatable, right? Because according to the APA, I know y'all like the research and the facts. And the science, 60% of Americans gained weight due to the pandemic, and the average amount of pounds was 29. So I think that's why a lot of people were like laughing. They're like, you're not alone. The quarantine 15, whatever, like the freshman 15. Sidebar, I gained the freshman 15, and my grandpa, who basically like only spoke Italian and had the thickest accent, because my fam was like fresh off the boat. We were at Thanksgiving and he was like, Tala, you go fat. And I literally like cried into my stuffing. No joke. So anyhow, this is like what I mean though, right? It's like, okay, I'm not going to shame Will Smith. Willie boy, you do your thing. But I thought that was interesting because like I said, you got like a really positive, funny, like when a guy shows his bod, loses, like unbuckles that belt, it's like a big joke, right? Ha ha ha, oh, he's so funny. And I laughed, I'm not going to lie. Imagine if like a woman did that, which I'm going to get to, it would be like, oh my God, like such a serious thing, right? Hence, which I think kind of like the women who were like going at like being like, Taylor, don't body shame Will or any dad bod for that matter. And I also want to talk about too, like on a little sidebar, don't lie. This is to everybody. You love a glow up. You love a glow up. Again, I'm never going to pressure you to like be pumping the iron, but like Chris Pratt, Neville from Harry Potter, if there is anything that this culture loves more than a blacked out reality star making a fumbling idiot of themselves on TV and continuing to make them rich, right? Is a glow up. Okay. So you love it. Okay. We're just a superficial society. Get over it. No filter, bitch. Okay. So I also want to say too, like kind of along with the guys who responded to me being like, yeah, like we like to take care of ourselves, like kind of making fun of Will Smith, whatever, even the Arnold Schwarzenegger, right? Like, come on, keep it up, like pump it up. I want to say too, like, I feel like there's nothing wrong. Like our society, because it has no chill and has gone so extreme, like we can't even be like, yeah, like work out to feel strong. I've talked about it before, but even the fact that like there have been highly obese models glorified on the cover of magazines. Like, this is what I mean where there's no chill. It's like, okay, we're going to the body image glorification, but it's like, there is something like that really makes you strong, right? And it's like, we've gone so extreme now. Like, I know a lot of it in the tabloids too is like women and celebrities like forced to lose their baby weight and da 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 da. And it's like, okay, like I can like salute you and accept the fact, like, I love it when a woman's like, I'm not rushing to lose my baby weight. I just fucking brought a child into the earth, bitch. Like, try me. I love that. But now it's like gone so extreme where it's like, you can't say anything about anyone. And in fact, you have to like glorify, an extreme, you know what I mean? Instead of just being like, yeah, if you work at it and you feel good, like and healthy and strong, that's like really kick ass and healthy for your mind. That is also why I am like, have become a gym rat because my anxiety is pussy popping. Okay. That's a whole nother story for another day. So I want to show you a quick video that ties into this. Is an interview I had with Jasmine Tooks, who's an actual ass Victoria's Secret model. And she's another one I actually worked out with. And I was right behind her. It was for I forget the company, but it was like a Pilates. And she's like an Amazon next to me, right? I'm like, are you up there, Jasmine? Like I said, Victoria's Secret angel. And I loved working out next to her because I feel like we always rag on them because we're like, no one has a body that natural, blah, blah. Number one, she actually had cellulite. No joke. And I saw it and I was like so relieved. I loved it. I was like, Jasmine Tooks, Victoria's Secret angels, they're just like us because I have cellulite, right? Who doesn't? Like, I'm sorry. Shake Shack is my religion. And if you want to challenge me, then we'll bring it outside. But even she says, like, I love her sentiment because she's like, you'll see, I ask her, I'm like, what's your favorite body part? And I love what she says because she's like, it's that kind of sentiment. Like, I work at it and I feel really rewarded. Check it out. You guys are all like so like tall and slim. And I was behind this one working out. Like, you have a booty. Like, you definitely have like a butt going on.
I used to not have a butt. I like worked it out and I grew it, and it's a lot of squatting.
What is your favorite part of your body that you're like, would it be your butt? Because you said
I think it's my butt because it didn't used to be as like big and plump. So I think when you work for something so hard, it like you feel like rewarded.
You are like the ultimate sex symbol, sex icon, right? It's like Victoria's Secret angel, like you don't get higher than that. How much of it would you say is actually like you have to work for it and just like genetically blessed?
You work out like every day, sometimes
you do
twice a day. Me personally, I'm on the slimmer side, so when I work out I do like a lot of weight training and I try and build like, shape on my body. I think it's nice to have like a curvy body. Totally. And it's a lot of hard work. It's not easy.
Right? Even for a Victoria's Secret model to say that is pretty cool. Like there is something to be said about working it and like getting that reward. I feel so good. Like I said, spiritually, physically, mentally, even though half the time I'm still off the goddamn rails, right? But you know what I mean? So do you guys, and this is what I mean about the extremes. It's like, we can say it about men and I've done it. I was going to show this video today, but you can Google it. I'll save it for another time, where I talk to women from Orange is the New Black about penis size and if it matters, which it does. Spoiler alert. Sorry. I know you can't help it, but work with what you got. Okay. And this is what I mean. It's like, we talk about men in a really funny, like give no fucks way. And I think like on the receiving end of it, they also don't care as much. Hence my IG story reactions. But it's also like we've gone to the other extreme now where you can't say anything about a woman, period. So I don't know if you guys remember, but last year, Jillian Michaels, who's a goddamn celebrity fitness trainer, made a comment about Lizzo's body. And also like Lizzo is confident as hell, hence her songs. Like, I don't think she needs us coddling her. Like, I'm all for what she does, you know? I don't think like she needs the validation. Like, she's a badass as she is, which is, I'm going to get to that later. So Jill said, why are we celebrating her body? Why does it matter? Why aren't we celebrating her music? Because it isn't going to be awesome if she gets diabetes. I love her music. My kids love her music, but there's never a moment where I'm like, I'm so glad she's overweight. Why do we even care? Why is it my job to care about her weight? Now, she got blasted, totally blasted. And it's like, number one, if you're her client, do you think she's going to be over and you're paying her, she's trying to whip your butt in shape? You think she's going to be over here being like, yeah, go obesity? Like, no, she's got a brand to protect, number one, right? And number two, there is validity in what she's saying. Again, it's like, you have to worship now. It can't just be like acceptance. No, it's like you have to worship extremes and body types or you're canceled. And you can't even point out the fact, like someone like Jillian Michaels, who's a professional trainer, be like, there could be negative things that come with this, you know? But no, you can't even acknowledge that. And that's why I feel like we've gotten to the tipping point with women. And I will say, we do scrutinize women more, right? Like when Chris Pratt was a little pudgy, when he had the jiggle going on, you know, the jiggle that would wiggle. I didn't hear celebrity trainers being like, you know, that's really not healthy, blah, blah, blah. So I will say women do get scrutinized more. I'm going to get into that in a second. I just don't like the extremes, how now it's like, you know, I wish that it were like men where we could like joke a little bit about it and it wasn't so serious, right? And perhaps this past of where we've been has made it that way. But if we want to level the playing field, then let's really do that. We don't need to be so serious about it. We don't have to, out of default, be worshiping extremes because we're so petrified, God forbid, of looking critical or body shaming. You know what I mean? So this brings me to Billie Eilish. So Billie Eilish was in a whole spread in British Vogue. And when I first saw it, I was like, dang, girl, like you have tits? And I was all for it. I was like, oh my God, like join the club, like come on over, let's hang out and have a good time. I had no idea that was hiding under your garbage bag of clothes. Like what happened? Because she would always wear these like really baggy, like denim outfits. And granted, the girl's 19. So if you analyze any more, you're a creep. Okay, get a life. No. But anyway, so she comes out with this spread and it's very like Marilyn Monroe 50s pinup girl, like curves, corsets, the whole thing. And she got feedback like Phil. I don't know who Phil is, but Phil, welcome to the chat. Like Will, which because we are in this overall like body acceptance era, right? So like I would say 98% of the comments I saw were like, my jaw's on the floor, you look so hot, you know, I'm dying. I will say, and I will give validity to some of these fans. There were a few handful of fans who were disappointed because they were like, man, like what we really liked about you was your authenticity and the fact that you looked like you were a walking ad for Hot Topic 24/7. Like you didn't cave to this over sexualization of women in media. And now it like feels like you kind of caved to that to sell your new album coming out. And so, you know what? I actually can I see where they're coming from in that regard. You know what I mean? Because it's like, if you like it, authenticity is so hard to find these days. We've talked about it so much on the show. People poking and probing at their shit 24/7. It's just so refreshing to see something real. So I could see where that would bug them. However, here's the thing. She says, I'm going to read you a part of her quote. So she already knew she was going to get some flack. And she said in the interview, kind of mocking the criticism she would get, she says, if you're about body positivity, why would you wear a corset? Why wouldn't you show your, why wouldn't you show your actual body? She says, parroting criticisms. My thing is I can do whatever I want. If you want to get surgery, go get surgery. If you want to wear a dress that somebody thinks that you look too big wearing, fuck it. If you like to look good, if you feel like you look good, you look good. And then on IG, she wrote, I love doing the shoot. Do whatever you want, whenever you want, and fuck everything else. So the part that I relate to, and she also says in her interview at some point, like, just because I strip down my clothes a little bit shouldn't take away my respect as a woman or who I am as an artist. And obviously, for those of you who listen to my show, you know that was the whole premise of the Playboy feature that I pitched and that I was in. And I will say, the part that I understand is she also says in the interview something to the effect of, have I dressed like this in public? No, but in private, you know, I've played around, whatever, and that kind of thing. And that's something I can definitely relate to. Like, I joke on this show a lot about how I'm a big prude, which I am. Like, I've never made out with a stranger. I never have. I'm like, that's what I mean. But once you're in and like we're a thing, it's a freak in the sheets, right? And so that's why the Playboy experience for me was so liberating. I will never forget that day being on set. Everyone always asks me what it was like. And it's so funny because in the beginning of the day, they gave us robes, right? And I was so petrified. Like I would only take my robe off the moment we were shooting. And then right away I would like put it back on. And it was long. It was like an 8-9 hour day. And I'll never forget, like, by the end of the day, my robe was nowhere in sight. It literally dissipated into thin air. It evaporated. I didn't even care. I was like, let's do this shit. Like, let's go. I was like pissed to put clothes on because I felt it was just so empowering because I was so used to like stripping. This sounds cheesy, but I was so used to like stripping myself in like a mental emotional way with my writing. And I had never really done it physically like she's talking about, unless it was like private or in the bedroom. And it was so empowering to be like, take it or leave it, bitch. You know, like literally I was straight up in like a nude community for a century after that. You like couldn't get me to put clothes on, but I understand what she means in that regard. Right. And I also want to bring it back to like the working out thing, because before I did my shoot, like I knew I was going to be showing it all. I kind of like felt like the Jasmine thing, which she says, like I was working out leading up to it like crazy, but I wasn't like, oh my God, I need to get skinny. Come on. No, I was like, I want to look good and feel strong and look my best. You know what I mean? And that's why I don't know. I can sympathize with like the glow up story. Like, I feel like we're almost like villainizing taking care of yourself. This is what I mean about the extremes. It's like we're villainizing it as if it's a bad thing. Like, even me making fun of dad bod and saying that dudes my age don't have excuses, especially because of Marky Mark. Sorry, he ruined it for y'all. But now it's like, we can't, because we're so petrified of being critical whatsoever, or like speaking our truth about it, you know, or what we really like. It has to be like, nope, I'll accept it. And you can't say anything else. And the reality is that both men and women deal with it, right? I actually did an interview about this with the cast of Baywatch, the reboot, the one with The Rock and Zac Efron. And because I always have had this in my head, I'm like, men probably deal with this stuff too, right? Maybe, but they don't vocalize it as much. So yeah, guessed right. I brought it to the red carpet, and this is Baywatch we're dealing with, right? Like, they're the creme de la creme. We're talking like the legacy of Pam Anderson and her slow-mo bouncy boob run. And I talked to women who used to be in the old school Baywatch. I talked to the cast of the new one, including Zac Efron, and take a look at what they said.
You're my first selfie stick. A lot of celebs say that. A lot say that.
Baywatch is iconic, right? They have these like gorgeous, slim. I mean, you're one of them. I mean, you're stunning. Like, you got this perfect boss. It's gonna get in here. Like, yeah. If you don't mind, I'm gonna take like yeah, no. Beautiful. Like, can you show us a little muscle, please?
Give them a little.
Okay. People like me have insecurities when we're in bathing suits. Do people like you who are beautiful, perfect figure, like, do you ever feel insecure in a bathing suit? Me, it's like my cellulite, my little curve. Like, you know, what is it with you that's like, I'm trying to pin something to like, because you're like perfect. Do you, as a man, feel any of those like insecurities?
Everybody has those insecurities. I mean, it's like it's called being a human being, right?
All the time. Dwayne and I would actually do it. Like, we would like do what Arnold does and like pump up before takes. Like, we like have these like bands. We actually like pump up.
This is for real. Okay. I weighed 98 pounds.
Oh my God.
And I thought I was fat.
Oh, I never feel skinny enough. I'm sorry, but I never did.
You know, it's like, oh, should I have not eaten that hamburger last night?
We don't feel comfortable when we're around guys like Zac Efron.
Why?
We're freaking perfect. Shrinkage.
Is that a real thing?
Shrinkage can happen. It too can happen.
There's shrinkage for guys? Is it like the belly? Is it like what? The arms?
Well, for me, it's the belly. For some of my friends, it's their thighs. We have the same issues.
What do you tell yourself? What's advice you would tell other people to rock it in a bathing suit?
Right. So it's all about confidence.
You got to get your inside right so the outside matches it. Own it. I think owning it is the key to any sort of insecurity.
I'm trying now as a 42-year-old woman to get that confidence.
It's sort of just about like embracing it, and at the end of the day, being like, whatever, fuck it.
Yes.
I am who I am.
That's right. Thank you, Kelly. Thank you.
Take it or leave it.
Yes.
If you have, yeah, this too shall pass. Shrinkage shall pass.
So it's interesting because even like the funny guy, I forget what his, and I think he was cast like specifically to be like the kind of chubby guy who's like the jokey guy, right? In contrast to like a ripped Zac Efron. But it's funny to be like, because he's joking, but he's kind of serious. He's like, I don't know, you kind of insecure when you got Zac Efron and his washboard abs like cutting my head every 5 seconds when I walk by him, you know? So I understand that both people deal with it, especially when it comes to Hollywood. And it's actually interesting because in an interview last year, Zac Efron opened up about it. And he was like, I never want to be in that good of shape ever again in my life. There's no wiggle room. It's just not real. It's stupid. And he literally calls it stupid and not real, and how hard it was. You know what I mean? And I want to acknowledge here too, that I completely understand. Like I said, I opened the show with it. So I get it that women have been scrutinized so much more. Hence why women, I tried to find the numbers for you, but the last study was like literally in 2002, which who cares? But we know this, it's common knowledge. Like, women suffer eating disorders, etc., so much more than men, like way proportionately off, right? And I know that this has gone on in Hollywood forever. I mean, I was watching Wizard of Oz the other night with my parents. Yes, this is my life. And we were talking about Judy Garland. And I did a little research, and this big asshole studio exec at the time, she was like 15. And he told her she had to consume only chicken soup, black coffee, cigarettes, along with diet pills that would suppress her appetite, right? That's disgusting. I totally understand this has been going on. And even as of late, you have people like Demi Lovato, which like Her getting upset over a frozen yogurt is a totally different story. That is like for another day. But I understand she's had disordered eating and she's gotten shit. So she says when she gained weight, Selena Gomez, she's another one who fluctuated in weight because she has freaking lupus. And by the way, I think both of these women looked hotter with the weight put on. Like they looked amazing, right? And so I just want to say, like, I totally understand there is that scrutiny, and both of them have reflected sentiments like, the troll, I got trolled for putting on some weight. It was toxic. I had to quit social media, etc. Right. But here's my overall issue with this whole thing, whether it be how we laugh and tease and talk about like dad bod say with Will Smith, and how with Billie Eilish, all the headlines are like, she's stepping into her power and she's so fierce and powerful, like taking back that agency. You know what I mean? I know she talked about other things in the interview too, like abuse, etc. But I'm talking solely about the aesthetic and the photo shoot, right? The thing that bugs me, and even if it be again, like back to my DMs, right? When it comes to guys, they're like, haha, yeah, like making fun of themselves, making fun of other guys. And the women are the ones who are like, that's not nice. Don't body shame. You know what I mean? It really bugs me because we almost like coddle women and paint them in this light when it comes to their body image as if they are always so brave. Right? They're so brave. And I don't like this because it portrays women as weak. So yes, while women have gotten the brunt of it and have gotten scrutinized, if we really want to level the playing field, especially when it comes to this, quit painting them as such victims and so as if we're so incapable and so weak-minded and so fragile and insecure. That's why I bring it back to with Lizzo. Like, she's a bad bitch. She is so unapologetic. She's like, take it or leave it, bitch, me and my flu. And if you don't like it, you can shove it right up your puss. You know what I mean? Every time we see a woman like show their stretch marks, it's like, she's so brave. And it's like, congratulations. We all have them. We all have stretch marks. Big whoopity doo. And so I want to leave you guys with another clip, because I surveyed you and I know you guys really like the celebrity interview clip. So this is with Haley Lou Richardson. And this is what I mean. It is all at the end of the day. Okay. It is, I don't care if you're Jasmine Tooks, a 10'9" Victoria's Secret model, or if you're Lizzo. I don't care. It's all about confidence. That's what it is. Okay. And here's a perfect example of that. And this is like a kind of flipping beauty standards on their head. This is a clip of me with Haley Lou Richardson. And we are talking about her small boobs. And she's like, here's why I love them. Check it out.
What's your name again?
Taylor.
Hi, Taylor.
I was like, she better stop for me because her and Brett have done this
Oh my
before.
gosh, yeah, I remember you. Except I'm sick, so I don't know if you want to get
I'm like
that close.
literally making out with you. Sorry,
Yeah,
Brett. I want to know, first of all, how you felt having these huge
Boobs?
tits out in this movie, because I have huge tits.
Oh, really?
So
Do
you're
you like how I'm like staring now at your tits?
No, it's fine. Did it make you feel sexy, or were you like, put them away? Like, how did you feel? Because right now they're.
I have very small boobs.
What? Yeah.
Well, yeah. I just have nothing going on there.
Yeah, because your belly button's up right now.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Literally up to here. Yeah. Did it make you want
big boobs? Most of my clothes that I have in my closet that I've gotten over time are for like flat-chested girls. So if I got bigger boobs, all of a sudden it would be a bummer because I'd have to get rid of like all my favorite shirts.
So you're comfortable with your boobs rock. And my last thing on boobs.
That's good that you like your boobs and I like my flat chest, because people always want what they don't have. So it's like nice to be okay with what you do have.
Right? There is nothing to me more empowering. Quit talking about it and just do it. Own your little boobs, own your stretch marks, own your British Vogue photo shoot, boudoir style, own your Playboy photo shoot, own whatever it is. It's that confidence, especially as women. We're tough as nails. We are tough as shit. We don't need to be coddled. All right. And clearly, neither do the men. So get your ass to work and get rid of the dad bod. No, I'm just kidding, guys. I love you, dad bod or not, but I might give you a little extra love if you work at it. Marky Mark, you know what's up.